Good afternoon, everyone. It is July the 26th, 2025, and today I'm hoping everybody's holding themselves in there and drinking plenty of water and looking after themselves. We've got another heat wave and high humidity for the weekend here again. So, and I mean high, up into maybe a late high 30s to the early 40s again, Celsius. So I hope everybody's drinking and keeping cool and is all right. So I'm going to leave that there, but please take care of yourself at the same time. So today I want to talk more about the the safe supply, and that comes back to the needle exchange again, where, as you're aware of, that they took the safe sites out of the heart hubs to do the needles, and so that in front of people, so that if they did do an overdose, they'd have medical help immediately there. So this has been quite the debate for so long, because you look at the arguments here, and in some ways it does make sense, and in other ways it doesn't make sense. And as I put up in the last videos there, before the spring sessions stopped with the Ontario government, who provides the funding as well for the programs for those to get their needles and that, at these heart hubs, is now saying no, they shut them down for that, so they're not safe sites anymore there. And of course people are fighting back, saying that more people are dying and that because of it. But that's been a controversy for a long time, even way back, as they say, when the AIDS situation was on, and the needle exchange program may have worked better back in those times. But this addiction problem on top of the AIDS virus is a little bit different, because at least people were more aware of the AIDS, and when you're on addiction, you're not aware what you might get with the needle. As more people back, I remember during the AIDS situation, they didn't want to get it, but they were aware of this better, and it wasn't the addiction taking over kind of thing. So I know when we had that problem for the AIDS, and some of the drugs even back then were just starting, but it wasn't big at the time, not like the crisis that we're in today. So there's arguments on both sides of this. Yes, in some ways you are saving lives, but in the other hand, the government's cracking down, because you're helping also to enable these people who literally do not want to get off the drugs. They just figure, well, okay, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die, but if I'm in getting a needle and there's people there, I have a chance of coming back, and I'll just go back to the needles again. And I know I've had this expressed by a few of the homeless people. They don't seem to be too worried, and they should be, but it's a serious situation. And I know what my parents would have said that back then, even you're sort of damned if you do and damned if you don't, because it's a situation that on one hand there's good things about one side of the argument, and there's good things about the other side of the argument, and part of it's public safety that you're looking at, as well as you're trying to save lives. But you're on both sides of the situation. Some people are still sitting on the fence between the two, but it's a very difficult situation how to handle this, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the next steps is going to be for the government there when they reconvene in the fall. So just keep posted, because there's going to be a lot more being said on this issue. And myself, I can see the point. I can see both points very clearly on both sides of the fence here, and they're both worth arguing, that's for sure. But if you're going to have, I'm also seeing the things that people are still not going into these safe injection sites, and we still are having overdoses on the street, and we're still finding needles on the street. And of course we still have the needle hunters, so they're doing their best they can to pick up these needles. But when you see needles on the street, you just automatically assume addiction, crisis. Okay, these are all used needles that they're picking up, and that's not necessarily true at the same time, because when we had the needle exchange, when they would hand out a needle, people would have to bring that needle back that they did use to get a brand new needle. But the other thing that people don't always see on the streets is I've seen several packages of brand new needles handed out that are just lying there on the street for anybody to pick up as well. So it's an expensive situation too, because this all costs money for the government, and of course, who funds the government but the taxpayers? So it's sort of going around and around in circles. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's down the road after the fall sessions start up again. So keep posted, everyone. And like I said, very interesting life we're living right now, and the world is at a crossroads in many, many situations right now with the turmoil the world is in. So we shall talk to you again soon, everyone. Take care, watch your surroundings, and be safe, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.